strangers on the internet. Welcome to Vlogmas day 6, I think. Yeah, anyway, I have finished Daughter of Smoke and Bone. Okay, so for those of you who have not watched the previous Vlogmas videos, I am attempting to finish the Pop Sugar Reading Challenge, and I picked 3 books off my shelves and read the last sentence of each of them, and then picked the one that was the most interesting, because that's one of the pick a book based on the last sentence. So I picked 3, and then this is the one I ended up choosing. I just got to the end. I just finished this like 2 seconds ago. I'm still processing. Oh, the ending hits so much harder. Like, I kind of forgot what the last sentence was, and then like reading the last sentence. Okay, so the basic plot of this book is you have this girl Karu, and she lives in Prague, but she was raised by monsters. Specifically this guy named Brimstone, and then she basically like now runs errands for him. In the form of collecting teeth. So on one of her trips to collect teeth, she runs into this angel. They're called seraphs. The angels are called seraphs, and then the demon devil creatures are called chimeras. And she ends up fighting this angel. And there's kind of this thing going on where these black handprints are showing up on the doors that lead into Brimstone's like workshop and house and where she like grew up. And she's like, oh yeah, that's kind of odd, but whatever. And okay, so that's like the basic premise. Is there's this thing with the doors, she meets this angel, but she was raised by this monster Brimstone, and she's like trying to navigate this world and find out more information as she goes. So I will say the beginning, the first like third is like really action packed, really like you jump immediately into the story and like all these errands that she's running. And then the middle part slows down a little bit. And then the ending is very word vomity. It's like, so basically something is revealed and you get a new perspective. I'm trying to see like what I can think of what I can say without like spoiling the entire thing. And you get a new perspective and you basically hear a story from this new perspective. And I personally did not like the way that this new perspective told their story in the context of this overall novel book. I mean, like, it wasn't like the worst thing I've ever read. It's just, it almost felt like it almost felt like a prequel novella that was just like thrown in like this much is like all entirely a prequel novella, basically. Something like that. Like, so it wasn't that part I didn't necessarily enjoy. Okay, so here's like the break marker, and then it's like only the last chapter. So all of this is basically a prequel novella told from a different character's point of view that like makes sense in the context of the story. I just wish it wasn't a part of the book. Like I wish it had been told a different way. Anyway, all that's to say, I did really enjoy this. The ending, I mean, the whole like prequel novella bit, it just like took me out of the story so much. So I think right now I'm thinking a 3.5, but I may bump it up to a 4 if it like sticks with me. I like, again, I literally finished this like 5 minutes ago, so I'm still sitting on my thoughts, and I'll wait until tomorrow to officially put my rating into my reading journal, but right now I'm thinking 3 or 3.5, maybe a 4. Okay. Now I have to pick the next book I'm gonna read, and I'm supposed to be meeting up with a friend later today, so I kind of want to pick a short book that I had the potential to finish today. I'm working on a video that'll come out the day after this one, of my full TBR for the year. I think I've decided that I'm just gonna pick the books because now we're getting to the point where I need to finish books on a specific timeline in order to finish them before the end of the year. And so I want to map out like genres and lengths. So it's like, I don't wanna read, like, a 500-page fantasy book, and then another 500-page fantasy book, and then another 500-page fantasy book, even though I really like those. Um, but, like, this is what, a 418-ish pages, um, urban fantasy, and so maybe next I wanna read a shorter contemporary fiction. So I'm thinking what I'm either going to read, I think the shortest book I have that I've decided to read is, Out of My Mind by Sharon M. Draper. I don't own a physical copy of that. I own some of her books. Can you see them? No, no. I own this series, the what is it, the Hazelwood High trilogy? Yes. And I love these books. I have read all three. I'd only ever read this one. This one's my favorite. It's Forged by Fire. This is the second book. But this year I read the first and the third one, and I had also previously read Out of My Mind. Sharon M. Draper is just like an amazing author and writes really well done stories about people of color and like people of disabilities. At least the ones that I've read of hers. I would like to go back and read some of her other ones. But I do not own Out of My Mind. So I will check that one out from the library. Yeah, I am also starting to compile options for next year's Pop Sugar Challenge. Um, and I'm not enthused by a lot of the prompts. Um, I don't know. I was just reading through them, and like some of them feel like ultra specific, but like in a bad way. Like one of the prompts is like a character who does Pilates, and I'm like, really? Like I kind of could care less about that. The reason I like the Pop Sugar Challenge so much is because it gets me to read books outside of my comfort zone. So like um the prompts where it's like read a book, so, like, one of the advanced prompts for 2026 is, like, an Afro future book, I think, um, but, like, stuff like that, or, like, read a book about soccer. I would never really normally pick up about a book about soccer, but I'm thinking about picking up, the memoir, and I'm forgetting her name, Megan Ramon, I think, but a really famous US soccer player. I never really would have picked up her memoir otherwise, but most of the nonfiction books I read are memoirs, so when I saw that that was a book about soccer, because she's obviously a really famous woman soccer player, I was inspired, enthused to read it, um, stuff like that, or like a book about an overlooked woman in history. So I actually read two so far this year. The I want to call them the Radium Five. That's not it. Oh, the Radium Girls, and then the Jack the Ripper Five. What was that book called? But the Radium Girls was about the girls who got radium poisoning by working in the dial shops in like post World War I into World War II. And then like and they basically were the discovery of radium poisoning was all these girls that got dead because of the radium. And then the I want to say it's like the Reaper 5 or something, but it's like the 5 confirmed kills of Jack the Ripper. So I guess it wouldn't be Reaper, it'd be Ripper 5. I don't remember. I'm trying to remember what the title of that book is. But that one is like the histories of the girls themselves and like their personal histories. So like they were born in this town and they grew up this way, and this is how they got into the situation to where they would have been a potential target of Jack the Ripper. And that book also fantastic. And there was several others while researching for that prompt that I'm like, oh, I really want to read that. It made me want to reread Hidden Figures, even though I haven't read that in a while. Which is a book about the women of color who helped in the NASA like space rocket launches, and like sending astronauts to space kind of thing. And the movie absolutely blew that story up, and like it's a great story to be blown up. It's a great story. Like the movie is fantastic, the book is fantastic, like the actual people themselves, like the actual women that that story is a nonfiction of are fantastic. So stuff like that. But like a character who goes to Pilates, like does that really need to be a prompt? I don't know. I just there's just it's stuff like that. I would rather have the like diversity prompts than some of the more uh mundane prompts. There's also like a prompt this year about like a book that takes place in Michigan or like is about Michigan, and I'm like, how do you pick these things? Like how do you just pick Michigan? Like that's just such a random state. Like not even like a book that take like it feels like New York City, then maybe, like, that would make sense, or, like, LA, or, like, Chicago, or Houston, like, these big cities, but it's like, Michigan? Like, it's just kind of an odd place. Um, or it's not, I would have thought, like, maybe, like, a European country, or, like, an Asian country, or an African country, because it's like, who out of the, like, most US readers, which this is probably targeted towards, would be my guess, are not gonna randomly pick up a book about Nigeria. So maybe a country, or a book about Nigeria, like, that could be a good prompt. Not Michigan, like, I don't know, sorry, I just really could care less. Um, so yeah, I'm kind of looking into maybe doing a new challenge next year, because I'm not a huge fan of these prompts, but we'll see. I have been yapping on for too long, so I'm going to get started on Out of My Mind by Sharon M. Draper. I'm really excited to reread it. I haven't read it since like middle school. It was one of the Battle of the Books books. Um and I love Battle of the Books. It was basically this competition, this content-based book competition. So you would like read the books, and then you would have to answer questions like about the content of the book themselves. So if like this was one of the book options, it would be like, okay, in which book does a character sink onto her knees in front of another character in distraught? And you would answer Smoke and Bones by or Daughter of Smoke and Bones by Laini Taylor. Stuff like that. And some of them are very easy, where it's like big plot points. So it's like, in which book are handprints on the door? Stuff that you could get by reading the summary. And some of them are very specific, like literally just like picking a random line, pointing and being like, in which book does da 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 da. So that was one of the books for that I read, like, forever ago. That's actually how I found Legend by Marie Lu, is because I read that book literally so many times for Battle of the Books. And I absolutely adored it, and I continue to read it all the time. Anyway, I am going to stop talking. I have not made any progress on my Blossom cardigan, which is the project that I'm focusing on right now. My goal for today is to finish the back panel. And again, I said earlier, I think I'm going over to my friend's house, so we'll see how that goes. Um, we don't really have plans. We're just like going to hang out, so anyway, finish this. I am glad I read it. I'm glad I put it on my self-destructing shelf destructing, because otherwise I probably wouldn't have picked it up this year. But yeah, I will see you later. Bye bye. Hello, welcome to my second and only other update for the day. I have just finished Out of My Mind by Sharon M. Draper. Y'all, my heart. Okay, so this book is about this girl Melody, and she has cerebral palsy, and she can't move, she can't speak, she can't like do anything for herself. And the book is basically about her learning to operate in the world the best that she can. She is incredibly brilliant. She she just sees the world in a different way. Um and I just loved reading about her, or I guess rereading about her experience. Um, yeah, just like the sweetest little human being. Um, but yeah, like it's just a heartwarming book to read. Like bad things happen to her, and she just gets up and she just like keeps going. I really want to watch the movie. Disney came out with a movie version of this book. And I would really like to read it. I think stories like this are just really important. Like I went to public school all my life. I interacted with special needs kids, like kids like Melody and the other kids in her class, and it's like these are real people. Like these could be real people. Like they're obviously characters in the book, but um, like it's just so interesting. And like every character is just written so humanly. Like they feel like real people. They interact with each other. They make decisions as real people, but they don't feel like characters. It feels like you could walk into an elementary school down the street and like interact with real people the same way that you could interact with these characters. And that's like what I've always loved about Sharon M. Draper's writing style. And now I just want to read like all her books. Yeah. This is why I read fantasy books, because then I don't feel emotions, because they're not real. Um, but yeah, anyway, that it's like 2 now. Okay, my craft update for the day. I am still working on the back panel for this cardigan. I basically didn't touch it at all while I was at my friend's house. Actually, it might be wide enough. It's supposed to be, I think, 77 rows across. But basically the fit is like really wide and then like pretty cropped. So like imagine this goes on my shoulders. I don't know if you can see all the way down. Okay, wait. So it basically, if I like hold it up to my shoulder level, it hits like right at the top of my hips. You can see this where the ribbing is. But yeah, it hits actually pretty similar to where this shirt does. Um, and I really like that. It's like, okay, I'm gonna set this on the floor. So like if I raise my hands up, this is like you can see my belly, but like nothing untoward is gonna show. And I own exclusively high-waisted pants. It's just the only style I really feel comfortable wearing. So like you can see the very top of my high-waisted pants, and then when it's, like, down, it sits, like, at the perfect level to cover everything, and then I'm, like, not worried about flashing anybody when I go up. But it's a cardigan, so you're meant to wear it, like, over something anyway, but it, like, comes down pretty far. It's like a V-neck, and it goes like this. Um, but then you wear, like, a cute little top under it, or something like that. I don't know. I haven't finished it yet. Even though I have not finished this back panel, I think I'm gonna move on to something else. I just feel like I'm stuck there, um, and I wanna keep that project happy, so I'm not sure what I'm gonna work on tomorrow. I think I have most of the day free. I have no plans, um, which is always nice. So I may pull out some of my languishing whips and actually tackle them. I'm thinking like actually lining my messenger bag and fixing the strap length, fixing up my white swimsuit cover up, um, and my skullverals, which are overalls made of skull granny squares, of which I have had in progress for over a year and a half at this point. And I would really like to have finished. So those are like, that's what I'm leaning towards. Either that or I'll try and finish the sleeves on my red version of my lightly toasted cardigan. Um, so yeah, that's my thoughts going into tomorrow. But yeah, I will talk to you then about what decisions I make. Um, yeah, my goal, I think I'm gonna try and get through maybe one of my mid-length books tomorrow. Um, so yeah. But anyway, I will see you next time. Bye bye. Have a good day, good evening, etc., etc.